in order to encourage companies to get into the space, to develop vaccines for the good of the public, for the public health, the government comes up with a program which immunizes those companies from liability for any injuries or damages caused by taking the vaccine.
If you suffer severe side effects after getting the COVID vaccine, there's basically no one to blame in a U.S. court of law.
Take the vaccine makers. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar invoked the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act in February of 2020, which protects the makers of COVID products such as vaccines and treatments from legal action. This protection lasts until 2024.
Essentially, in order to encourage companies to get into the space, to develop vaccines for the good of the public, for public health, the government comes up with a program which immunizes those companies from liability for any injuries or damages caused by taking the vaccine.
That means for the next 4 years, companies like Pfizer and Moderna can't be sued for money damages in court over injuries related to the administration or use of products to treat or protect against COVID-19. But drug makers, like Pfizer, continue to reassure the public no shortcuts were taken.
This is a vaccine that is getting approved by all authorities in the world, so that should say something to them.
Pfizer and Moderna did not return CNBC's request for comment on their legal protections. But remember, it was the FDA that actually cleared the vaccine for use. So does the federal government bear any responsibility?
You can't sue the FDA for approving or disapproving a drug. That's part of its sovereign immunity.
Sovereign immunity traces back to British law before the American Revolution. You couldn't sue the king. The U.S. adopted that same principle. There are limited exceptions, but legal experts say they don't provide a viable legal path to hold the government responsible for a COVID vaccine injury.
In certain types of emergencies, the FDA can issue an Emergency Use Authorization, or EUA, to provide more timely access to drugs, diagnostic tests, or other critical medical products that may help during the emergency when there are no adequate, approved, and available options. The EUA process is different than full approval of these products because in some emergency situations, we just cannot wait for all the evidence needed for full FDA approval. Instead, the FDA evaluates the options very quickly using the evidence that is available and carefully balances any known or potential risks of these unproven products with any known or potential benefits to the public of making them available during the emergency.